first of all, these Biden poll numbers, they're disastrous would be an understatement. I can't see how he recovers from this.
No, I can't see either. First of all, let me say I'm sorry that you have to serve behind enemy lines there in Washington, D.C. But
thank you.
So we wish you well. Look, I've studied this, is that no incumbent president has been this bad off 1 year before the election. Yeah, exactly. Tomorrow is going to be 1 year. Is that no one? And if they were like LBJ, they threw in the towel and they said, nope, no, I'm not up for it. Jimmy Carter was in bad shape. But not as bad a shape as Biden is. So and the New York Times is notorious for putting its thumb on the finger of its book listings and its polling numbers. So these numbers are actually probably worse for Biden. I just hate to say that. I just hate to see that the narrative become he got rejected because of his age. Yes, he's old. Yes, he's befuddled. Yes, he's senile. But it's his ideology, his failed ideology of liberalism. Yep. That has failed, and that's what needs to be the script the next day after he loses the election. It has to be that his liberalism fails.
Craig, let's talk a little bit about this third-party candidate situation. Kennedy's going to be on the ballot in at least some of these states, maybe all of them. We'll see. We're not quite sure exactly how many he's going to be on. But that makes me think, of course, of Ross Perot, yes, who, of course, won the most votes, as a third-party candidate in American history, right? I think it was like 19 million. He got, I think, 19%, almost 19% of the vote. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say Henry Wallace in 1948 got something more than John Anderson, but it's a great point. But I've studied the polling data, and John Anderson, George Wallace, Ross Perot, and I predict Robert Kennedy took proportionally from the two main candidates. So John Anderson was really not a threat to Jimmy Carter, who was a threat to both Reagan and Carter, because he took proportionally from both. And the same thing with Ross Perot, is that he took proportionally because one set of voters see them through one prism. They saw John Anderson as a liberal, as a Republican. Another set of voters saw him as a liberal. So they're going to see Robert Kennedy, I believe, through two prisms. One is an heir to the Reagan or the Kennedy legacy, so that'll motivate Democratic voters, and B, as a challenger to the establishment, and that's going to motivate Trump voters. So he's probably going to take proportionally from both.
Interesting. So it might be a wash. I've got about a minute left or so. What about this race coming up compared to some others in history? I mean, we've had some wild presidential races. I mean, you go back to 1800 and you had Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, the tie there. And then in 1828, you had Andrew Jackson and John Quincy Adams. That was mudslinging galore. It just seems like we've had some wild presidential races throughout history.
This is such an important point, David. Everybody talks about a unified America. As a matter of fact, America's only rarely been unified. We were divided in the American Revolution. We were divided in the War of 1812. We were certainly divided in the Civil War. We were divided over entry into World War I. We were not divided over entry into World War II. And we were not divided on September 11th. Those are the only two times in American history where the American people have truly been united. We're divided over these presidential contests, which often evolve into mudslinging.